to Scrapyard Diecast Racing Semifinals.
As always, I'm your host, Barnabas Tone.
And this is me, your co-host, Frederick Allen Seto. Wow, as you just saw in that opening title card, we are now in the semifinal rounds.
Why don't we do a quick recap of who is racing today?
Big race today.
Up first, it's Speed Buggy, and he got here today by sending the other Speed back to the garage. That's right, Speed Buggy beat Speed Racer back in Race 4. Then, joining today's party, it's the Party Wagon. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they proved ninjas racing as a team are much better than mysterious ninjas racing solo, because all the way back in Race 2, they sent the reclusive Racer X back into the shadows. Now, Barry, let's get up to the guillotine gate and get these semifinals started.
Starting off in Lane 1, it's the Ninja Turtles. And in Lane 2, it's Speed Buggy.
I have no idea what to expect, Barry. These racers are so different. One is a van driven by a team, and the other is a dune buggy driven by itself. I think the only thing they have in common is both their front bumpers have big mouths.
And speaking of big mouths, why don't you shut yours so the chipmunk can do his job?
Mouth shut. Hit it, Alvin.
3, 2, 1, go!
Turtles into the wall!
Speed Buggy speeds through.
The turtles stall!
Speed Buggy like a rocket. Oh no, watch out!
The camera!
What a way to kick off the semifinals! They both rip out of the guillotine gate pretty evenly. Then in Nevada, I think the Party Wagon was going wide to set up for a block in the bottleneck, but it gets too close to the wall and wham! He hits it hard.
And Speed Buggy tears through the bottleneck, and then on his way out, he pulls a drifting turn so he can confirm how big of a lead he has over the Turtles.
Meanwhile, the Party Wagon just skid and spin its way through, as helpless as a turtle on its back.
Then coming into Carmine Corner, Speed Buggy is all out and gaining speed.
And it looks like all that shifting from drive to reverse must have blown a transmission gasket in the Party Wagon, because it limps to the inside shoulder of Carmine Corner, causing the engine to sputter and shut off.
And the Buggy, knowing it's all alone, does some showboating and drifts down Clunker Canyon at full speed.
Unfortunately, it looks like Speed Buggy doesn't know how to shut off that showboating, because he uses our finish line cam as his brakes.
And speaking of brakes, we break at least one camera per race. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep count. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3 cameras for 3 heats. So far, we're at 1.
And speaking of 1, W-O-N, not O-N-E, Speed Buggy just won and puts the first win on the scorecard.
Here we are back at the guillotine gate for Heat 2. It looks like those turtles were able to fix their wagon in the time it took us to do the replay.
I'm sure it was no problem, because like their theme song says, Donatello does machines. And what I do is countdowns. Cue the chipmunk.
3, 2, 1, go!
They're even!
Turtles lead!
Into the clunkers! Oh no, watch out!
Well, look who just got back in the race. Maybe Donatello cranked that transmission to 11.
Coming down Nevada, those 2 racers appear to be welded together at the fenders.
They exchange a few taps in the bottleneck, but they both pretty much make it through unfazed.
Then, taking the inside lane through Clunker Canyon, the Turtles start to make their move and take the lead.
The Turtles actually catch some air coming into Clunker Canyon, and they use a clunker to turn their van around. That was some precision driving. I wonder if Raphael let Leonardo take the wheel for that move.
But precision quickly turns into calamity because they spin the length of the boulevard and across the line and, of course, into the finish line cam. And you know what I have to say about that, Al?
Yeah, unfortunately I do.
That makes 2.
Well, in Heat 2, the Turtles were able to tie it all up and stay in the game. Wow, these semifinals are intense.
We are back at the gate for the final heat. This is the first semifinal race, and here we are with a tiebreaker.
I'm so super excited, Barry. In fact, I was so super excited, I forgot to tell the crew to reset the clunkers. So if anyone was planning to turn up the heat, this is the moment to set things on fire. I can't wait anymore. Start counting, Chipmunk.
3, 2, 1, go!
Even again.
Oh my goodness, watch out! Hit the deck!
Go ahead. I know you're gonna yell.
Yell? Me? Why, I'm the consummate professional. I'd never yell. On camera. But that should be much easier to do, considering this race alone we've lost 4 cameras. 1 in an explosion.
You should be thrilled, Barry. That's a scrapyard first. The fans must be losing their minds. We'll probably even pick up a few new subscribers. But let's take a closer look at what went wrong once they got into the bottleneck.
It seemed like the party wagon was going for a brutal pit maneuver, but missed, and he was never able to straighten out.
And the van hit that exit ramp perpendicular and was launched out of the bottleneck. And the party was all over for that wagon.
Luckily, Speed Buggy took Carmine Corner at full speed, and he cleared it before that camera met a terrible fate.
And right before the ninjas flew off the track, they hit the camera tower so hard, it toppled over, landing in Carmine Corner. I guess you can say Camera Tower 3 and the Turtles both ended this heat with a bang.
And they weren't the only ones, because after getting loose through Clunker Canyon, Speed Buggy hits the outside wall in the boulevard and then spins like he's on the Carnival Teacups ride, and also makes the finish line cam go out with a bang, bringing us to a grand total of 4 destroyed cameras in 3 heats.
See, Barry? Another scrapyard first. And speaking of first, after that explosive performance, Speed Buggy puts his second win on the scorecard, making him tonight's overall winner, and that also means he's the first one to secure his spot in the finals. But before that, we'll have to watch semifinal race 2.
Where Assassin number 1, the leader of the gang of assassins, will face off against Racer for Hire, Louis Tokar in the GRX. Don't miss it.
Wow, that was quite a way to start off these semifinals. It's been a thrill being your co-host. We hope you'll join us next time. As always, I'm Frederick Alceto saying goodnight.
And before I say goodnight, if you've made it this far and you've enjoyed what you saw, won't you please leave us a comment and a like, or better yet, subscribe to the Scrapyard so you never miss a race. Until next time, this is your host, Barnabas Tone, saying thank you and good night.